All right, it's time to talk about. It's a few sports related topics that we must discuss. First off, we was talking about Kevin Stefanski, and I'm gonna pull up on our screen, Joe. Now that Kevin Stefanski is with Atlanta Falcons, he'll be going up against Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield is one to not forget and always continue to hold a judge. It seems, I mean, hold a grudge. It seems like. So one thing that Baker Mayfield just tweeted was failed is quite a reach, pal. Still waiting on a text or call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of trash. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. Obviously relating to Stefanski. What's your thoughts on this, and do we have a new rivalry brewing between Atlanta and Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
We absolutely have a new rivalry, Vaughn, and I love it. And I love it. And this is the reason why I love it because if the NFL is going to do the right thing, they're going to have some shifts in Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. And I know those two guys are not going to tackle each other, or these two guys are not going to actually be on the field together, but it's must see TV because, again, did Kevin Stefanski fail Baker Mayfield? I don't know. But I know he did get shipped off, and I knew there was some tension there a little bit. So I can't wait. In two times a week, I mean, 2 times a year, and the handshake. So that's where the cameras are going to be. You know, the cameras are going to be there, whether it's pregame, postgame. Are those guys going to be cordial or not? Because what Baker Mayfield did do is he created tension, and I think I love it. I know I love it.
No, I love it as well. The fact that he's saying like, "Hey, I don't like you. I haven't forgot. I'm glad you in Atlanta. I don't think you that good of a coach, and I'm gonna show you." It provides, even as obviously, if you a Tampa Bay fan, you should love it. If you a Falcon fan, you should love it because you shouldn't like Tampa Bay no way. I think we need more of that energy throughout the
Well, hold
NFL.
on. I'm supposed to love Tampa Bay. You know
Yeah,
that.
that's what. But you wearing ATL as well, so you just
Yeah,
conflicted. You
yeah,
just
yeah.
conflicted.
No, I'm not conflicted. That was a job. That was a job. That's all. That
Right,
was a
right.
job.
But my point is, division rivals should feel like this, and not to say that Pittsburgh and Baltimore don't feel that way, or Cleveland and Pittsburgh don't feel that way. Dallas against Philly don't feel that way. Like we mentioned earlier in the season or a few episodes back that the NFC South was pretty stink. It's pretty soft. And maybe soft is not the right word, but not saying that people is friendly, but it need to be some form of rivalry, and the rivalry can't be who's gonna be the worst team in this division, because it seemed like
That's
the
right.
entire division was trying to see who can lose the most games rather than who can win the most games. So any
Do you
type,
think about? Do you
uh-huh.
like tendencies, Vaughn? Do you like tendencies as far as um, Kevin Stefanski? And I know that was what 4 years ago. Can he tell his team anything about what Baker Mayfield like on the football field? What he likes to see? His footwork, his reads, his arm strength, not going to the wide side of the field, or not going to taking a check down. Can that help? Because that's what I immediately thought about. Because I know it's 4 years ago, but I think Kevin Stefanski. Because you remember, they drafted Baker Mayfield number 1 overall, so they
Right.
did an extensive research on him and everything he loves to do, what he doesn't like to do. Do you have a feeling about that?
That's a great question. I would say yes and no, because that's like somebody saying they met me 4 years ago. I done grown since then. Now, if you were the same person and you still got it, if a coach job obviously is to do the research, but you gotta do the same research on yourself. So if Baker Mayfield know his weakness was this 4 years ago, and he hasn't found a way to not necessarily shortcut, but make it to where that's not his weakness no more, then that's his problem. And if Kevin Stefanski still going off of 4 years ago, then we gonna see when they do face each other to see
Right.
who. So that's a great point that you brought up, because tendencies definitely are, especially for those that's like some would say Baker Mayfield type player like Brett Favre. You a gunslinger, you got these tendencies. You can be
That's right.
great, but that still don't mean he won't blow the game at the end because he
Yeah.
willing to make that throw. So sometimes it's best to but growth is not falling to those same tendencies. Even going back to what you were saying or alluding to, we was talking about CJ Stroud. You want to continue to see the growth within CJ Stroud to where he not making rookie mistakes.
That's right.
That's good. I didn't even think about that there. But since we talking about head coaches, and again, I'm gonna just pull up another photo for us. And I asked you this before, but all of the coaches was not named at that time. Right now, we got Kevin Stefanski with the Falcons. We just mentioned Clint Kubiak with the Raiders. John Harbaugh with the Giants, Mike LaFleur with the Cardinals, Jesse Minter with the Ravens, Todd Monken with the Browns, Jeff Hafley with the Dolphins, Robert Saleh with the Titans, Mike McCarthy with the Steelers, and Joe Brady with the Bills. Now, this is ML football. They graded all the coaching hires. But, Joe, I want to know, what is your grade in regards to the most impressive, who is the sleeper pick, and who is the biggest letdown?
Raiders is my sleeper pick, and that's Clint Kubiak. And why? Because he's fresh and he's playing in the Super Bowl. And his dad, Gary Kubiak, is from the Shanahan tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he's outstanding with the zone read, West Coast offense. I absolutely love that hire. Mike LaFleur with the Cardinals, I love that hire too because it's fresh. It's fresh meat. I don't know what I would say about McCarthy with the Steelers, Robert Saleh, because Vaughn, at this point, I want fresh meat. I want fresh meat. So I know it's, I don't want to call it retread, and I don't want to say these guys are getting more jobs and keep on getting jobs, and were they successful or not. I don't like it. Kevin Stefanski, I don't know why they graded that at A+. I don't know what they saw for him being an A+ at the Falcons. Even with the Ravens, I like that with
Jesse Minter.
Jesse Minter. I love it because it's fresh. I want new head coaches. However, I don't like any of that list. I don't like that list at all because the only minority guy is Robert Saleh.
Right.
And that's a problem. The Rooney Rule is not working, Savon Williams. It's not working. Are you sitting here and you're going to tell me that out of the 10 head coaching vacancies, no African American is qualified? So that's why I don't like the list at all. I love those coaches and getting an opportunity, and I'm not hating 10 vacancies in a predominantly African American league as far as players, no head coaches at all. That's a minority. I know Robert Saleh is a minority, but African American, I don't like that. That's where I want to go a little bit for use that. I don't understand why.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It sounds like you barking up my tree because I have, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I continuously to say some of the outstanding or glaring issues that I have with the NFL, whether it or even with the media, with how we'll gloss under the fact that there's lack of African American NFL head coaches when at least the league got to be 90% African American. So if we if I'm gonna make that equivalent to a business stance, that's like saying, hey, y'all good enough to work, but y'all can't be no C-suite executives. Y'all can't be, y'all can be the entry level workers. We might even make you a manager. You can be offensive coordinator or possibly defensive coordinator, but we definitely ain't about to make you director or where you running anything C-suite level. And that's the issue that I've had with the NFL, particularly. I'm not gonna say specifically with the NBA because it's more teams and some people play behind the scenes a bit with the NBA. But I just think sports in general, we got to have more representation across the board, not just in head coach's position, but just like Matt Ryan just got that role. The same way you can create a role for Matt Ryan, you can create a role for somebody else. And it took some of our most outstanding players to go to colleges and become head coaches or become coaches where nobody else really wanted to be. Whether you're talking about Deshaun Jackson and even Prime going, who wanted to be at Jackson State?
Even Michael Vick.
Yeah, Michael Vick. So, my thing is even in regards to that, like, I see where it's treading, and that's why I always salute Prime, even though Colorado absolutely stunk last year. I have to salute Prime because I see him doing it's kind of like an avalanche of what others like Marshall Faulk now going to Southern can possibly do. And that's going to eventually, you would think, it'll get into the NFL, but it's nothing for certain. When you're dealing with them folks league, it's, hey, if they let you in, it's a blessing. And that's why when we go into even talking about college head coaches, what's his name? Sharon Moore. Can't happen. Situations like that cannot happen. And I did want to discuss. We'll get into it. But what was the dude from Michigan State? Because he just won his case.
Mel Tucker,
and that's a whole nother side of it. But those situations, as a black man, you gotta stay grounded. You cannot let anything, because it's more than just you. You representing everybody that's coming after you, and they looking for any reason to say, no, we not gonna hire him. I'd rather hire the losing coach. I'd rather hire the coach with 8 wins in the last 2 years than give him a chance when he clearly should have a chance. So,
and two things about that, Vaughn. Is that if you look on this coming Sunday on the Super Bowl, if you look on those both sidelines, there's a ton of African American coaches. Yeah. A ton of them on the sidelines. So it's not like where are they? But you just don't want to hire them, and you don't want to, I guess, trust your franchise with them. And I have a big time problem with that because it goes back to me being a black quarterback. And Randall Cunningham and in the late 80s and the early 90s that we can't read defenses or all we want to do is run.
Right.
We can't stand in the pocket. So it goes back to your point that when somebody of an African-American tone like I or somebody, we got to prove that wrong, right? We can't go out there and start, slinging interceptions, throwing the ball over the lot. We got to make sure they know that we can read coverages and do those type of things when we get in that position because they're not going to let us fail twice.
Tight leash. And that's why even when we talking about Trevor Lawrence, I know you say he had a good year this year, or Justin Herbert, and I'm like, these boys got a long leash. We real patient with them, but CJ Stroud, he got to be taking these levels. I think sometimes, and now that I'm understanding, I think you want to see him take those levels because the adversity that he's up against, so the challenges of being a black quarterback. But I always be like, man, give him grace. Or even if we gonna be hard on Lamar Jackson, we gotta be hard on Josh Allen. That was my entire point.
Absolutely, and I love it. And I don't want to beat a dead horse here, Devon, but again, I don't know how many of us African American black would have gotten the opportunity Sam Darnold got. Or Baker Mayfield.
Or that's what I was about to say.
So Sam Darnold, he went from New York Jets, number 3 overall. He went to the Panthers, San Francisco, Minnesota, and now he's, rightfully so because he's playing very, very well. But I don't think we would have gotten those chances, man.
Let me ask you, Vince Young, he had a decent career, but he didn't have many chances before it's time to move on.
That's right.
And that's right. The quarterback in Indianapolis. Not to say that I'm even vouching for
Anthony
him.
Richardson.
But come on, man. It's like they be ready to move on because
your favorite player.
Who? Lamar Jackson?
No. Your favorite player in the NFL.
Who is my Jameis Winston for sure.
Yeah.
But see, I'm not going for it. I'm not gonna let you just act
No,
like they go.
what I'm saying, I mean, no, what do you mean? I'm not knocking him.
No,
I'm
I'm
just saying
saying that's a great example too. But
right,
like in
right,
regards to, but he's still bouncing around from team to team. But that's just
yeah,
because what he bring outside of just from on the field. He
that's right,
put a
that's right,
team
that's right,
together. He literally
that's right,
can come on and be a backup and still be captain of the team because
that's right,
he
that's
he
right.
can galvanize a team. That's a gift, you know. Now,
Yeah.
one more thing while we talking about just our sports shorts real quick. We talked about Todd Monken being the coach. Uh, just going back where sometimes being a father, we can put our foot in our mouths, and or sometimes it's just like we can think we know better than what God got for us. Prime, it was said that the Ravens wanted to draft Shedeur, and Prime response was, "How in the world somebody fought him for thinking, why would I go back up Lamar for 10 years?" Which is understandable, but when Shedeur went to go ahead and meet Todd Monken, the first thing that he said was, "We tried to draft your ass last year, but it's all
Right.
worked out now." So just think about that, putting that in context, Joe. What's your thoughts in regards to Todd Monken being the head coach for the Cleveland Browns and possibly rolling with Shedeur?
He's a little older, Vaughn. He's a little older. Todd Monken, 60 plus years of age, and Shador is not in my opinion, not a dual threat guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to look way different than it looked when Lamar Jackson in the last 3 years. But with that being said, I cannot wait for the competition. So you can miss me with this name. You can miss me with Dylan Gabriel. All right. So Deshaun Watson and Shador Sanders is going to battle. Now, that's a question for you to answer, a question for me to answer, and look at it in the preseason. Is Deshaun Watson a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson? I mean, excuse me, than Shedeur Sanders? Because that's what it's going to be about. And I thought about it 2 nights ago, and I was wondering, would Coach Monken name a starter? He can't name a starter. He shouldn't name a starter. Being a head coach, coming to a new team that's defensively ran with Miles Garrett and those boys, and just outstanding defense, top five defense. He can't name a starter preseason. He can't name a starter right now, which a lot of coaches would want to do. But I can't wait for that battle. That's going to be a battle, and that's the only battle. Deshaun Watson in the preseason versus Shedeur Sanders. So you give me your thoughts about that, because at this point, I think Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback. Why? Because I hadn't seen Deshaun Watson in 2 years.
Right. And even when you seen Deshaun Watson in 2 years, it wasn't nothing, that would make it Deshaun Watson all-star, all-pro, or close to it.
235 million.
Yeah, where
Deshaun
he's
Watson.
been. I
Yeah.
think dude, it is what kind of Deshaun Watson do you have? All right, do you got the Deshaun Watson that's hungry, or do you got the Deshaun Watson that's belly already fed and he just really trying to
Right.
finish out his contract? I
Is
think
his ribs showing?
yeah. Is it he got something to prove? Like Shedeur got the chip on his shoulder with something to prove? Because I think it can be beneficial regardless. And as you can see the title below, it say competition breeds champions. So regardless, whether it be, Shedeur taking the helm, like a lot of us is rooting on, and then you got Deshaun Watson, who's gonna been a Pro Bowler. Shedeur been a Pro Bowler as well, but who's also been top 5 in the league at one point, can give you different, as a black quarterback, can give you different tips rather than if you going back to the Atlanta and Michael Penix versus Kirk Cousins, where Kirk Cousins say,
Right.
"Hey, I'm not a backup. I ain't, you know what I mean? I'm not helping you. I'm not
That's right.
embracing it." So if Deshaun Watson, even if he take the starting role and Shedeur can learn a bit more, knowing that, hey, I'm next up. Like I'm next up. So I think it can be helpful because, like, again, I'm all about competition, and you don't want to just wipe out everybody unless you are dominant in a sense. Meaning, I don't want the easy road. I want the hardest road, and let it be known that there's no excuses to why I'm a champion.
That's right. And a lot of people didn't notice, but I noticed it that when Shedeur had 7 starts, at least 4 of those starts, and I saw Deshaun Watson was tutoring him on the sidelines.
Right.
Deshaun Watson was right there talking about film work and talking about on that Microsoft pad and the next drive. So he was doing that already. So it's going to be healthy competition. So um, will the Todd Monken hate come, Vaughn, if Shedeur Sanders is not the starting quarterback? So because Shedeur Sanders is a polarizing figure.
Right.
Polarizing. So if Deshaun Watson wins the job, will we be looking at it with a situation that Tom Monken kind of sabotaged him or don't want him to start? I don't know, but I just want it to be a healthy 6 reps for you, 6 reps for me, and let's see who the best man comes out of it. That's what I want. But I do not want, and this is not because he's Caucasian or anything. Dylan Gabriel doesn't fit into this. He doesn't. He was a 3rd-round draft pick. He had his chance last year, and he has a big time ceiling. He can't perform. He's not an NFL quarterback. He might be a backup, lifelong backup, but that's cool. So I'm not hating on him, but he shouldn't figure into Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, and Shedeur Sanders leading the Cleveland Browns.
I'm about to turn to the king of the one-liners. We said competition breeds champions, and just to allude what you said about Dylan Gabriel, you can't compete where you don't compare. As simple as that. Like, we don't have to even go too much into it. But also, as we continue to go through our sports shorts, we must mention Bill Belichick and his Hall of Fame snub. We obviously gonna talk about this off camera and how I felt about it. What's your thoughts? Because I don't even want to get started.
Vaughn, I would say this. Don't ever let him in. Then that's my problem. Don't ever let him in. So if he's going to be this snub this year, and for whatever reason, Spygate, Deflategate, and some of the writers are going to say we're going to make him wait, and he was snubby a little bit, or he was a turd to the media. Okay, so next year don't let him in, and the next year after that don't let him in. So don't play those games with me. That's all I'm talking about. Don't play those games. Either he's a first ballot or you don't think he should get in. And that's ludicrous for you to not even think he should get in. All his resume qualifications are through the roof, so he should be in. So those same voters next year, if you're still on the ballot, what are you going to do next year? That's the problem I have. I have a big time problem, but they're sending a message, Vaughn, because why is not Robert Kraft in the Hall of Fame?
Well, now we was gonna get to that, but I wanted to just show, as you talk about, what Belichick has been able to accomplish, which is outstanding. Most Super Bowl wins, most Super Bowl. As a general manager, he got 6. So you talking about on every level. You're not just talking about as a defensive coordinator where he got 2 Super Bowls, most playoff wins as a head coach, most playoff appearances, he's tied for first, most division championships, 17. You know how hard it is to win 17 division championships?
Right.
And, for them not to put him in, my thing is, and I continue to say, the NFL, and even as you alluded to, because we're going to get to Robert Kraft, they want to pick and choose, but often they try to do a cover-up. I think the whole Robert Kraft not getting in is a cover-up. But my thing is, okay.
Cover-up from what?
Cover-up for how they just messed up with Bill Belichick. Because it would
Well, I say this to you, though, Vaughn. Bill Belichick has been on the ballot a long time.
Well, I thought this is his first time to be a.
No, sir.
No, you mean Robert Kraft been on the ballot a long time?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Robert Kraft has been on the ballot a long time.
Right.
So it's not a cover up with him. So why isn't he in?
Well, again, so I believe that it would be too controversial if he got in on the basis of the last week where everybody's like, hey,
I got you.
it's the Hall of Fame. Like, what is the Hall of Fame at this point?
Right.
You know, because y'all trying to rewrite history, or not even trying to rewrite history, but y'all trying to act like history did not occur. And I don't respect it. I don't care who the voters is. If, for one, only people in the Hall of Fame should be voting on other Hall of Famers. That's how I feel about it. Like, why is it, if we are a secluded, let's say, country club, why would we care about what the nonprofit or whoever that's voting for us to let people into our membership? That makes no sense.
You should gotta be very, very careful with that, Vaughn. And I totally understand it, and I agree with you because some of these Hall of Famers, they don't even like football anymore.
But
Right.
I can understand that too.
So they don't even play or they don't watch it. So if you're not playing it or you don't watch it, uh, is your vote qualified? That's all I would say about that. I
But
agree,
I would
but
take their vote over somebody that watch it but ain't played and holding personal feelings. Like, that ain't, I don't care
right,
about what you ain't got on that field and felt none of that. You ain't
right,
ever coached nobody. So how is, even if, like Bo Jackson, for instance, Bo Jackson is one to say, I don't watch football no more. I don't even watch
that's right.
sports no more. I gonna did my time. I'm on off to something else. Bo Jackson still can have a Hall of Fame vote because he Bo Jackson, and because of what he done on the field, regardless if he gonna watch in the because you gotta wait 5 years anyway before they
That's
try
right.
and let you in. So he still know of these guys.
Right. So
You,
Vaughn, but I don't want you. I don't want you to think that players don't hold grudges with other players as well. So I mean, if you're in the same division and you are a Hall of Famer, and it comes down to your vote, it can happen. I'm not saying will happen, but it can happen to where a player might be like, I'm not going to let him in because of whatever on the football field. I didn't like how he played, so it can still be politics in that as well.
yeah,
That's
but
all
it's
I
a
would.
still a
But,
respect level amongst
right,
the
right.
players. Should nobody else be involved? If you like, what is the media involved for? Nobody talking about how many interviews you did, how many times you lost and did an interview afterwards, how many times you won, or how many times you had viral moments. That's not involved. So how is media people voting on who in the Hall of Fame? It doesn't add up to me. And then, like we said as well, my thing is this: if you gonna use the fact that or say, oh, they was cheating, so they not in. Well, what about the people that's in that committed manslaughter? What about the people that's in the Hall of Fame that done did other heinous crimes? So we can't act like it's a
Well,
standard
no,
of.
that isn't whole legs. That isn't whole legs, Vaughn. I mean, that's apples and oranges all day long. And I understand where you're coming from, and that's a crime, almost like LT. I'll always bring up LT and even Michael Irvin, the drug use, the cocaine, the partying, the getting suspended. Yes, yes, yes. However, they didn't gain an advantage on the football field. That's all. So that's why it's apples to oranges to me. When you gain an advantage on the football field is different than what you did in your personal life.
So
That's all.
what
So
what
they cheated on the
what would you
football
feel
field.
like? And I'm gonna pull it up.
Okay.
What do you feel like? Deflate gate. We gonna say
Mm-hmm.
deflate gate, which they said in the second half the footballs was regular, but deflate gate. How many of these championships, conference division championships, had anything to do with deflate gate?
Vaughn, I don't want to do this to you because I know because we are chopping it up. I don't know. I don't know. So, but it goes to the fact that you only got caught. You remember that? So I mean, this ain't the first time you did this. The reason why you sorry because I caught you. Those type things. I don't know, Vaughn. I do not know. But I do know that Deflategate is a thing or was a thing because of football in cold weather, and if you deflate it a little bit, it is a thing. And definitely Spygate is a thing when you are spying on a team's practices that you shouldn't be doing. So it is a thing. So
But
how
why
many
do we
championships?
disregard other
Uh-huh.
Hall of Famers saying we was doing the same thing, we just didn't get caught?
No, we no, Vaughn. I think you are misrepresenting or reading it wrong when Jimmy Johnson and those guys saying we were doing the same thing. What they were doing, they were looking across the sideline and trying to steal signals on game day, or they were looking at game film and trying to steal signals that way. The New England Patriots in Spygate, they was they had people spying on their walkthroughs.
No, I
That's a
understand that, but
so that's a
I
total
may
different.
be interpreting it wrongly. But again, I gonna watched a few clips where other coaches gonna came out and said, "Hey, we was doing this back in the day. The only difference is Bill Belichick got caught, and now y'all trying to make it seem like this is the reason Bill Belichick won 17 divisional
Yeah, I understand
championship
that. I understand,
or
but I just
17."
want to. Right. I just want to clarify that to you when these coaches are saying that we were trying to do the same thing and we did the same thing. They're talking about on game day.
But
They're
they didn't
talking
say
about
on game day.
but that's what they're talking about. So
How
that's
do
not
you
cheating.
know? That's my point. How are you giving them the benefit of the doubt that they talking about on game day and they not saying, hey, we was trying to do the same exact thing. We had some people that was in the hotel that was trying to look across the field and see these things, and we was trying to get any tips we could to win.
Yeah, okay. So not even game day on TV copy, because I remember Peyton Manning time and time again. He would come in every Wednesday, um, uh, because he said, guys, we were on TV, and we were at home. They heard our signals, they heard our snap count, they heard all those type things. So let's change the signal up, because that stealing signals has been going on for 1,000 years. That type of stealing signals, not spying on somebody's walkthrough. That's all. And maybe I'm wrong, Vaughn. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think the difference is. When the coach is like, "We've been doing this for a long time. We tried it, and Belichick just got caught." Not somebody's walkthrough, not somebody's practice.
Well, I think, as Belichick is having to look at, and the thing is, they say how he just absolutely adores the Hall of
Yeah,
Fame
yeah,
and the NFL.
yeah.
So they knew that this was going to be a punch in the gut, and it really was going to hurt him more than probably anybody else. They said he sometimes he'll just go to the Hall of Fame just for the heck of it. But as we was alluding to, Robert Kraft was named a finalist, but breaking news as early as today, he did not get inducted into this Hall of Fame class. And again, I just think that it's a cover up. My thing is, I said this, I don't care what the sport is. Bill
Mm-hmm.
Belichick, Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, and Rob Gronkowski should be first ballot Hall of Famers, period. Like, if the goal is winning, if you playing to win championships, we can talk about all the stats. Hell, the Patriots in the Super Bowl this year. So what is it? Were they cheating in too? Like I just don't like when people try to mix up how is Jerry Jones in the Hall of Fame, but Robert Kraft not in the Hall of Fame?
Well, you can answer that question.
No, I can't. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, it's Spygate and Deflategate, brother.
But
That's it.
Spygate and Deflategate cost how many Super Bowls though?
No, again, Vaughn, you're getting into a little bit of semantics, and you're right. You're absolutely right. But again, they're going to attach that with Robert Kraft, and that salon probably has something to do with it too.
Yeah, but so even if but we saying that's a part off the field. That's
Yes,
off the
exactly.
field. So
Yeah,
again, if we gonna talk about, so it's just not, my thing is, what is the standard of the Hall of Fame, and this has just made it even glaring. Because if y'all ain't got Bill Belichick in, then should no coach be in? I don't care.
Well, check this out, Vaughn. Check this out. You think we have a problem now? You think we have a problem now? And I totally agree with everything you're saying. That Bill Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame. Robert Kraft should be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. But in 2028, what happens with Tom Brady?
I just told you, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick,
No,
and Rob Gronkowski.
No. Hold on. Rob Gronkowski hadn't come up on deck yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I just feel like out of the Patriots, those guys should be first ballot, and if they not first ballot, then it shouldn't be no Hall of Fame. I don't care about no other excuse in regards to nobody else, because guess what? When it come to ring time, we talk about championships, when we talking about GOATs, you can't say GOAT owner and not mention Robert Kraft. You can't say GOAT coach and not mention Belichick. You can't say GOAT tight end and not mention Robert Gronkowski. And you can't say GOAT and not mention Tom Brady. So if they not in the top, if they not in the Hall of Fame, then again, I've done watching.
But we can't be blind, Vaughn. We can't be blind.
What are we blind about?
No, I'm just talking about it because Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, they're not in. So you're right. And they should be in. So when Tom Brady comes up, if they pull the same mess, then we might be talking about the same thing. I totally agree with what you're saying, but Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are not in. So what's the reason? So if you're going to attach Tom Brady with that, maybe Tom Brady, which would be ludicrous, he does not get in.
But I don't even want to speculate that because, like I said, I will not watch another down of NFL football if the Tom Brady don't get in like he rightfully deserves. I'm just not really for it. I'm not even, that's like saying, oh, LeBron ain't going to get in for whatever because he went to Miami. Like, we don't have nothing. Even if you take away 2 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls, your favorite quarterback ain't got 4 or might have 4, whereas it's Joe Montana. You take away 3 of Brady's Super Bowl, he still got 4. And so do we blame Bill Belichick for Pete Carroll's mistake for throwing on the 1-yard line? Do we blame do we blame Kraft or anybody else for the Atlanta Falcons not being able to close out a fourth quarter? Like, it's too many historic moments that ain't got nothing to do with Deflategate, that ain't got nothing to do with Spygate, where they supposed to be in the Super Bowl, and if they don't, let's say they called and say, hey, we want our stuff back. We want to put this stuff in our house. Then what is the NFL? Like, because they got so many historic moments that if you don't, even if you talking about the greatest show on turf, like that upset where I think there was a 14-point underdog when they beat the Rams. It's like, come on, man. It's just sometimes I think the NFL, just like with the Shedeur situation, I think whether it's bad publicity or good publicity, they like to keep their name in the running. So now if they going to put us on hook for another year, like, oh, are they going to put Belichick in next year? Or what they going to do with Tom Brady? When we know I'm a man of right is right and wrong is wrong. And it ain't right. So we going to spend more than enough time alluding to this. And, it's time for us to transition. It's time for us to transition.